A reading from the Gospel of John. But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she said to them, "They've taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they've laid him." And when she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there. But she did not know that it was Jesus. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" And supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you've carried him away, tell me where you've laid him, and I will take him away." And Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. And Jesus said to her, "Do not hold on to me, because I've not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." And Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. Well, Alleluia, Christ is risen. Easter greetings to you in this week, Easter week, where we hear all of the gospel accounts of not only Jesus has risen on Easter Sunday, but we get to hear through the next 50 days of what it was like to be those first followers of Christ, first followers of Jesus, who encountered the risen Christ. And I love this portion of John's gospel. I love the way that it shows us in the story. I certainly can relate to Mary, who is overwhelmed with anxiety, with trauma, with grief, so much so that she cannot recognize God in front of her, Christ in front of her, her teacher, her friend, her rabbi, Jesus standing right in front of her. She is so consumed with grief, with panic, and then with fixing the problem, trying to negotiate with this gardener and saying, "Let me fix this. If you'll just do this, I'll take care of it." And it's not until Jesus calls her by name, says her name, Mary, that pierces her cloud of chaotic thinking and coping and responding and cuts through, and she recognizes God right in front of her. And I want us, as we go through this Easter week, rejoicing in the power of life and love over death, rejoicing in the fact that Christ has come again and is among us, is alive in our midst, in our community, in the bread and wine that we meet every Sunday or every time we come to receive the sacrament, that Jesus continues to live, but also that God calls us by name if we are able to hear it and able to let that calling us by name pierce whatever busyness of mind we have, whatever fear, trauma, managing, anger, whatever's going on in our life, that if we can simply calm down enough to look and see what is in front of us, in this case for Mary, the one whom she's supposed to be the gardener, but for you and me, it will be different, of course, but that there are times when we have met Christ in another person, in a stranger, in a friend, in a loved one who has spoken a word to us, and we hear God glimmering through in that word spoken to us. I want you, just as a prayer exercise for the rest of this day, Tuesday in Easter week, to imagine stumbling upon a stranger in an unexpected place, a park, a sidewalk, a doorway, a garden, your home, and that person turning and saying your name with the love and intention that Jesus lavished on Mary in this moment, calling you by your name, Mary, or whatever it is that God's term of endearment would be for you, calling you by name, grabbing your attention, and letting you know that you are in loving relationship with God this very moment, this very day. May God be with you in that meditation. May the joy of Easter resurrection continue to form our lives, especially in these next 50 days or so, and that we might proclaim that love to the world and help God to call others by their name, using our voices if necessary. May God be with you, and may God bless you and keep you this joyous Easter day. Amen.